Hello, everybody. Welcome to Haiku Talk. I'm your host, Ben Ga, your friendly neighborhood haiku poet. And today we're doing something a little bit different tonight in the material that we're looking at. Instead of coming from a new issue of a new journal, we are going to take a look at a new book from somebody that passed away about a little over 10 years ago. The book is Where Rain Would Stay. The poet is Peggy Willis Lyles. And the press is Snapshot Press. There's a saying that, well, it's not just a saying. If you want to write good haiku, you need to read good haiku. And this book is about as good as it gets. So, with that said, let's sit back, relax, grab yourself a tasty beverage, and let's haiku. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Haiku Talk. This book is one that I've been looking forward to for many, many, many years, simply because Peggy Lyles is one of my haiku heroes. She is also a mentor of mine in the first 6 months-ish that I really got interested in writing haiku seriously. She was the editor that I submitted to at the Heron's Nest. And her correspondence back and forth was invaluable to me. And it's part of what got me hooked to haiku. And reading this introduction, it's wonderful. She, in 1976, which is the year I was born, kind of turned her full attention to haiku and never really looked back. And I've kind of taken a similar track in my own writing, going back to 2009. Now, she passed away in 2010. And it was very sad. And prior to that, she did publish one book, a nice big collection called To Hear the Rain from Brooks Books. A really nice collection. But that was came out in the early 2000s, and it left a whole lot of her work that had been published to not be part of any sort of compilation. And I did also learn in the introduction here that before she passed, she had been musing with the idea of having another collection, realizing that it could come out after she passed away, and did request that it be called Where Rain Would Stay, which is the title of this new book. And again, it excites me even more because even on the back sleeve, we've got two of my other haiku heroes writing blurbs. John Stevenson, wonderful, fantastic poet, says, "Where Rain Would Stay is a haiku book for the ages, setting a standard we may all strive to emulate, however short we fall." And Carolyn Hall states, many of Peggy Lyle's finest poems were uncollected at the time of her passing. Barlow and Gilly, the editors, have painstakingly collected them into this gem of a volume. Like their author, these haiku are full of grace. You can feel the pulse of a tiny heartbeat in each poem. Free of artifice and masterfully arranged, Where Rain Would Stay is a testament to the art of haiku, each captured moment at once ordinary and extraordinary. Peggy would have been proud of this collection. Readers will love it. Haiku aficionados will cherish it. I am cherishing this collection, and I am loving this collection. And I'm just, like I normally do, I'm only going to pick one poem out of here, which is quite a daunting task. But I'm picking one that speaks to just, the three S's, simple, succinct, and suggestive language. Poem's got a great first line, a poem that's got really great musicality to it, and a poem that really engages senses. And it's just, I read this book and I'm like sighing in happiness, page after page after page. And so this is what I'm going to share. It's on page 52, and there are over 200 plus haiku in this book. And the one that I'm picking goes like this. Scattered stars. The mist between us. Tastes of pine. Scattered stars. The mist between us. Tastes of pine. Oh, what a delicious poem. What a fantastically delicious poem. Now it follows the fragment and phrase format, the first line being the fragment of scattered stars, the phrase being the mist between us tastes of pine. Whew, and boy, does that capture, or like light up a lot of our senses, doesn't it? So let's look at this line by line. So that first line of scattered stars. Scattered stars. Now, for me, I'm taken directly outside. I'm looking up. It's a clear-ish night. I'm not saying it's perfectly clear because it's a scattered stars. It's not full stars. And I'm already, kind of looking up and have a sense of wonder, which is what happens when you look up at the night sky. And, for me, I'm imagining it's kind of a cool moment, like the temperature's cool. I'm a little bundled up. I'm just looking up at the stars. And they're scattered stars, which again, 3 S's, scattered stars. And the T's and the D's, 3 T's, 3 TD kind of sounds, scattered stars with an M dash to help punctuate that line. And I'm going to get into the rhythm of this in a little bit, but it's a really nice rhythm. Scattered stars. Scattered stars. Scattered stars. Very nice. Rolls off the tongue. Feels really good to say out loud. We get to line 2. The mist between us. The mist between us. Suddenly, I know I'm not alone in this moment. I'm there with somebody. And we're close, but we're not close enough that there wouldn't be mist between us. So there's mist there. And there's mist in the air, which adds another cool element, both that I can feel. You can feel the mist. You can see the mist. And it also helps creep in the idea of the scattering of stars. So it helps build this scene that we're in. And it makes it intimate because you're not there alone. You're there with somebody else. And the way that the line speaks to that other person, the mist between us, it's very personal. It brings you in, like there's a closeness there in my mind that's suggested between the I of the poem and the other person or other people in the poems. In my mind, it's just one other person, but you might see it differently. But there's a closeness there, familiarity, an intimacy. The mist between us. Then we have the last line, tastes of pine. Tastes of pine. And now we know we are definitely outside, and we're in a pine forest. And there's scattering of stars, there's mist, there's myself and another person in this moment together, where we can talk, look at the stars, and the mist that surrounds us has a flavor to it. It tastes of pine. So we've got taste, we've got touch with the feeling of the mist around you, a little bit of the coolness that has to accompany that mist. There's a lot of things to look at. Things, pine forest, not only can you taste things, but you can smell them. You can hear either the silence or just the ambient sounds of being outside, looking at the stars. And I tend to think it's more twilight for me, rather than a breaking of dawn. And for me, I go there because the whole poem speaks to a quietness, speaks to a calmness, which to me is the way the day ends itself rather than the day begins. This is a calming, almost a whisper between, can you taste that pine in the mist between us? It's so crisp and like I said, intimate is a good word that I keep coming back to describe this. What a lovely scene. Where does it take you? Are you putting in at the evening time? Are you put in the waking time? Is this a scene that you might have experienced before? Is this a scene that you've maybe just know, even though you've never actually been to it before, based on the images in the poem, maybe based on movies and books and stuff that you've read in similar settings? It's just wonderful. Just wonderful. Now, about the rhythm of this poem, I really, really, really like it. And it's kind of a weird thing or hard thing to talk about, but I'm going to beat it out on my chest here because the rhythm to this poem is just, it's so good. So scattered stars. Scattered stars. That's your first line. Boom, boom, boom. The second line, the mist between us. The mist between us. The mist between us. The mist between us. And then the last line of tastes of pine. Tastes of pine. So you have scattered stars, the mist between us, tastes of pine. Scattered stars, the mist between us, tastes of pine. That's really cool. And very intentional. Those things, those choices, those word choices, and the way you construct and build a line, that doesn't just happen by happenstance. Now, you might be gifted, if you do a lot of writing, you might be gifted from the ether, from the muses, from the heavens, wherever you want to call this mystical thing that comes to us, how we dive into the flow of creativity and pull things out of it. You might be gifted with something like that on the first try. But I know with my own self, beats and rhythms are very important to me in my own work. That I have to, if the rhythm isn't right, I keep working at it until I get it to be right. I know also that sometimes, I'll have a moment, but the moment ends up changing, the poem ends up changing because of the way the language has to move. So it's very much like if you might have, I like to watch documentaries or people like the behind the music type shows where people talk about how they write songs and how albums are made, and so forth. And very oftentimes you'll have singers like a Peter Gabriel or a Bono of U2, they will hear the music and they will make sounds, do this gibberish talk to try to find the rhythm of the lyric. And then oftentimes the words get shaped around the rhythm of the lyric to meet the melody of the song. And I find that I do that myself with my own writing sometimes. I got the right sounding word, but it might not be the right word. And I sometimes have to then find the right word that keeps that sound quality to it so that the poem really works and pops. And sometimes I can make that work. Sometimes, the poem gets put in a dustbin, but it is something that is intentional. It is something that's sought. And to me, this poem feels like it was very, very meticulously put together to meet those rhythms. The scattered stars. Like that, the rhythm of that line, scattered stars. Scattered, it's a frenetic word, it's frantic, ba 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 ba. It's got a lot of beats. But stars, once you focus in on the star, It's that long syllable. It's that long hold of a vowel, stars, and so you focus in on that light. It's scattered stars. The mist between us. So you have the mist, the image, but then it's between us. The mist and us is the thing, but between is a short word. It's a quick word. It's moves back and forth. It vibrates. The mist and us are very solid beating words. But between helps because it's kind of frantic, and because it's got two beats, and because they happen very quickly. It, I think, helps close the space between the mist and the us, again leading to a sense of intimacy. And then you've got that last line of tastes of pine. 3 solid beats. Tastes of pine. And again, you have a long I at the end, pine, to where you really land on that word. And tastes, it's in the mouth, tastes. There's a lot of stuff happening in your mouth, which is, again, goes along with what the word means, what it's doing. You're tasting something, but tastes of pine. And a pine kind of echoes the stars, where you have a long vowel, single beat, and it connects you with where you are outside the pine. And it's just scattered between tastes are the quickie words, the kind of pulsy words, stars, mist, us, pine being the hard words. And it's just really, really well put together. And I know, too, that this was important to her. It's talked about in the introduction, which if you get books like this, do read the introduction at least once, at least one go, before you just blast the poems, because you can learn quite a bit, not only about, in this case, the poet and how she thought about poems, how people also think and thought about her poems, but also it helps you kind of recalibrate yourself and what you think about poems and how you dive into poems and how you process them and engage with them, both as a reader as well as a writer, and to do a good job in this introduction. And it is an excellent collection. Now, it's not cheap. It is a beautiful hardback book. And I understand people might say, well, that's great. But sometimes it's worth spending a little scratch to get something really nice, and you will not be disappointed with this book. And it's a very nice testament to the poet, Peggy Willis Lyles, one of our best. She is greatly missed, but her presence has not left us. It's certainly not left me, both in my own writing life as well as my reading life, and should hopefully, if you pick up one of these, either of these collections, you can't see with the light, but you'll be very happy. Again, that's Where Rain Would Stay, and this is To Hear the Rain, Peggy Willis Lyles. With that, I bid you adieu. Thanks for tuning in once again. My name is Ben. This is Haiku Talk. Do like this episode if you like the content. Think about subscribing if you haven't done so already. And if you subscribed, think about ringing the bell to get notified when new issues become available. Thanks again for tuning in. Until next time.